Manchester City as a gift from David Raya. Almost a let-off from Manchester City.
Towards Tony, away by Diaz, Foden, and now Rodri, and now Alvarez, and Alvarez to Haaland, and Haaland's onto it, and Haaland's through! What a chance! Erling Haaland, 1-0 City! A slip from Brentford, and Haaland punishes them! He now has a full collection! He scored against every single team he has ever met in the Premier League, and he's broken Brentford hearts tonight!
Yesterday, we lost a true great from the club. Former player and manager Tony Buck passed away at the age of 90. To players and fans, he was known as Skip, a true captain in every sense. For many, he was and will forever be Mr. Manchester City. Tony Buck's legacy will forever be etched in the fabric of Manchester City. He has a unique story, one that will probably never be repeated. And I'm joined in the studio by two men that knew him personally, David White and Keith Curle. Keith, what's your overarching memory of Skip?
He's one of my first welcomes to the football club when I first joined. A legend of a man, as a footballing man. I've got to say, a man not of a great deal of words, but very honest. Very, if you ever needed anything, Skip was your man to go and see, and he'd put you in the right direction. Always had words of good advice, and when you played well, very simple in his praise as well. As in, I like that, well done. And he didn't need, but like words of encouragement from him meant a great deal.
David, what's your memories of Skip?
A really sad day, firstly. Obviously, as a City fan growing up, I don't think I quite remember him as the player and captain. Certainly as the manager. He was the manager when I first got my season ticket in 75, 76, took us to Wembley. So obviously brilliant memories there. He was the youth team coach as I signed as a schoolboy for the club. Early 80s, I remember him coming to I'm sure he came to my school once to ask permission to play me on a Saturday morning, which I think he had to do back then. Gave me my debut at kind of every level at the club, A-team, youth team, reserve team, all unbelievable memories. And then I was kind of helped you, nurtured you into the first team. And then once you'd done that, because there was a lot of tough times during all that He was a very uncompromising guy, Skip, and he knew what he had to do to help you get there, and sometimes that was tough love. But having got you there, and when we got ourselves into the first team, he became your real protector, and then you were his lads, and it was up to you then. But he wasn't going to let anybody, be it a rogue first team player, if you like, or he wasn't going to let anybody else get in your way then, and that was it. I think that's my biggest memory in some respects, just that real change from that tough love to more like love, and just protecting you. And he was an absolutely wonderful man. You know, you said Mr. Manchester City, absolutely that person. Personifies what a club legend really is. You know, the words used, you know, every day, and you know, it gets said to all of us as players by the fans, and that's lovely. But if you're looking for the standout guy at this football club of all time in the 130 years we've been about, it's look no further than the guy we've lost today.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. You've really encompassed everything part of this club that he was. And for you younger viewers out there, he played more than 300 games as a player, and it was the golden era, 1966 to 1974. But that was just the start of his story with this football club. In that time, he won 5 major titles. He was Football Writers' Player of the Year. And then he went on to be manager of this club for 5 years, winning a League Cup. And then he became honorary president. And then he became life president of the official supporters club. And you'd still see him around daily. At games, I loved seeing him. Whenever you saw him, Keith, he had a presence and everybody was drawn to him. And like you say, he would always, a man of few words, but he would always say hello and he'd always have a moment for you. And he just had a presence whenever he walked into a room.
Yeah, definitely. And I think probably the big thing is as well, whether you were a big money signing or a young professional coming through, or somebody that's come through the ranks and everything like that, he had a level of respect that he showed you, which was something that you wanted that to be part of your makeup as well, because he treated everybody with respect. And again, I've got some fantastic times. Every away game, when we used to travel away, I couldn't stay in bed and wait for a pre-match meal. I was always up early, so we used to always go down for breakfast. And wherever we were, it was him, Roy Bailey, and myself, were always the first ones down for breakfast. And it was one of those. And he could just talk football all the time. He had a love and a passion and a desire for the football club to do well.
I bet he enjoyed seeing you in recent times on match days as well, David, and I bet you enjoyed seeing him.
Every time you saw the guy, it was a joy. I know it was only 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't want to dwell on this tough love thing, but I remember saying to him, you didn't really want to be as tough on us as you were, and he went, no. He'd been given a job by Peter Swales to get, obviously, the team that won the Youth Cup in '86, to get them into the first team, and that was clearly the task. And to do that, Keith will tell you, you've most walks of life, you get until you're 35, 40 to be at the top of your game, and in football, if you've not done that by the time you're 22, 23, you're running out of time, and in our case, it was 18, 19. So that was a really difficult task for him, and he had to be tough, but he didn't want to be, and he admitted so that day. Everybody, still loves the guy, and it was just a pleasure every time you saw him around the place, as you described yourself as well.
Yeah, when you think about Manchester City, he really is everything. He's everything this football club is, and so unbelievably adored, and will be missed so much. He'll be missed so much.
Can I just also say, I think the fans and everybody, they probably don't realise everything he did for this football club in terms of, he was a highly decorated player and captain, highly decorated manager, as you say, footballers rated player of the year. And then when he was youth team coach, we were, I don't know how many coaches this football club has now, but back then it literally was. There was a period of time when Billy McNeil left the club, Jimmy Frizzell was manager, didn't put a tracksuit on. Tony and Glyn and Roy were basically running the place on their own in terms of training and fitness and recovery and rehab and treatment. And if we were short on a Saturday morning, Skip would play for the A team. He'd be driving. We used to have this sort of light blue Umbro embossed minibus. Skip and Glyn would drive it up to Barrow or Morecambe or Formby, and they'd play, and then they'd bring, and Glyn was kit man, and Glyn would be, he'd be doing the treatment on the reserve games. And when Keith was talking there about on a Saturday morning, you're away and you're having breakfast, it all sounds dead lovely, but, you know, so as soon as he's finished his breakfast, Skip is on the coach with Roy and Derek, the coach driver, driving to Highbury or to White Hart Lane, putting all the kit out. This is how dedicated the man was to this football club, and that, you know, lasted to, you know, still goes on. Still goes on.
As you were talking there, I was just thinking, gosh, he loved this club. He loved this club so much. There's so much more to learn about Skip. And again, if you're one of their younger viewers, please get onto the official app, get onto the website, find out more about this incredible man. It's so important that we remember where we have come from. So please get on, have a little read. And there's an online book of condolence as well that you can leave your messages as well. So you can tell us about your first memory of Skip. You can tell us about any times you met him, or indeed tell us about when you watched him. Give us your memories, share them on there, on that book of condolence as well. So also, another member of that 1968 title-winning side also passed away this week. It's been a tough week. Bobby Kennedy died at the age of 87. The defender made 254 appearances for City during an 8-season spell between 1961 and 1969. He scored 9 goals and he played in the same side when Tony Book made his debut. In 2021, Kennedy was one of 4 former City players retrospectively awarded winners' medals in recognition of their contribution to City's 1967-1968 title-winning season.
I've got to thank the club for pursuing the outcome, because it doesn't just mean anything to me, it means a lot to my family, my wife and my daughter and son, because they all go to the match, can't miss a match. But no, I had a great time, you know, playing because I was a regular. I was regular with the first team and that, and that was a good thing. You were always felt part of it, you know.
Hello and welcome to the G-Tech Stadium. I'm here with Michael Brown for Matchday Live. Now, we just want to start the show by reflecting on the really sad news of the former player and manager, Tony Book, who passed away at the age of 90. I'll hand over to you, Michael Brown, for some words on him.
Yeah, extremely sad news. When I first went into the football club as a 16-year-old, he was the one who greeted you for all his wise words. He also had a bit of steel about him, making it instill what Manchester City meant to everybody, and only until recently at every game he was the first to say hello to everybody, still that smile on his face, coming to every single game. So a real sad day for Manchester City, and hope we wish his family well. Yeah, we do indeed, and we thank everyone who was tuned in and paid their tributes, which they can do across the site. Now I'm going to reveal to you the Manchester City team news to face Brentford this evening. In goal is Stefan Ortega. And then the right back is Mateus Nunes. Or we say right back, we're not sure yet. We're going to unpick that in a moment. And then it is Manu Akanji, Nathan Ake, Josko Vardiol, Mateo Kovacic, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Savinho, Phil Foden and Erling Haaland. The substitutes are on the screen for you now. Now, I mentioned I think Nunes might be playing at right back. I have a feeling that I might be a little bit wide of the mark with that one. What do you think, Brownie? I'm surprised you didn't go for all the substitutes. There's a few youngsters there. You're a bit tested whether you're going to get them all right. You're under a bit of pressure because you don't always see what's coming your way. But yeah, systems, setups, there's always that talking point. When Pep announces his team, you've gone brave there saying Nunes is going to be right back. But what we do know, Akanji can slot in down that right-hand side, whether it's him, Ake, Josko Vardiol, in a back three when we start moving the ball around, progressing into different styles. This is a also a place where you're going to get tested. So maybe out of possession at times, we might see somebody else drop into that back four, whether it be Nunes.
We had a lot of joy against Salford, of course. With it being the cup, it was a convincing win for City, the 8-0 victory. But we did see at some points 3 at the back in that game. Do you think he's reflected on that and then thought that system worked, albeit it's a completely different game here at the GTEC? We know how good Brentford are at home as well.
No, FG, I think if we've watched City for a while, whether it be a centre-back going in the middle, right back, left back, he's always got that sort of back three in the makeup to go and get another player in an advanced position. Out of possession, and we all get behind the ball, we all defend, that's what we have wherever possible. So I don't think it's anything different. We take positives from the Salford game. We are playing a lesser opposition. Good performance. It was a confidence builder. We've seen lots of goals, and we really needed that type of win, didn't we? Where it was a real sort of easy afternoon to end the game, where later on in games we have found it tough. Even the West Ham game where we got a great result, we were tested at times defensively. So it was nice to see a more comfortable one.
It was indeed. I mean, Pep also spoke in his pre-match notes about how the strikers or the forwards need to get goals and assists. One man who got a hat-trick here last season starts today, Phil Foden. It was a brilliant performance from him. It was a performance that, we were 1-0 down and he ended up scoring a hat-trick and won 3-1. I mean, as a player, if you come back to a place where you've had good memories, does that help you sort of give you a bit more confidence, knowing, okay, I've come here before and I've done it again, and let's try again?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you have a few takes here last year, do you give you confidence, or do you go, last year when I was here, I got loads of it wrong, we had to go back to camera, we had to do a few more, so it does give you a nice feeling. Your memories are good, you have a step, a spring in your step, you want to go forward, but Phil's getting in his stride now. He's getting into better positions, better areas, so he'll be looking forward to this type of game. It's a dangerous Brentford side though, and I think I also keep saying that because I'm a little bit cautious at this moment in time, but yeah, Phil will certainly remember those days. 3
wins in a row for Manchester City. A bit of momentum again. Do you think that bad period we've come out the other side of it?
I think we're there. We're starting to get some better performances. At times when I've seen when we've lost games, we've had okay performances and shouldn't have had the result we had. The times we've sort of fell away late and we really deserved not to win. But the last few weeks look more control. I think what I would say, I'd go back to Leicester City and go, right, we'll ground that one out. West Ham game, still too many opportunities as a team to try and stay with 1-2s, little runners, not creating so much territory, getting counter-attacked will be important. That'll be one of these today. So Salford dispatched in a big way. That was a good performance. As expected, we would win the game, but not to that level. So good signs, confidence, a few smiles. The training ground will be much better, that's for certain, when you're going in and getting some results.
Yeah, well, listen, we can't wait for the game tonight. We'll be back pitchside. Now, we are going to go back to the studio where we're going to welcome a very special guest, his first Matchday Live, and a man who actually ended up meeting another celebrity, shall we say, in the airport. I'll leave Nat to dissect this one.
I know what you mean. Thank you, FG. Thank you, Michael Brown. Yes, for his very first show today, we welcome David White. It's always lovely to have new faces, David. And Keith Curle is here, who did have a lovely experience meeting a Matchday Live regular. Would you like to tell us, Keith?
Big Steve got accosted in the airport. No, it's nice to see a friendly face on the journey back. I can't believe that he was in business class.
Big Steve was in business class. Go on, Big Steve. Very nice. We love our Big Steve. I can imagine. Did you have a good chat about City?
Oh, yeah. He's invited me on his podcast as well.
Didn't even know he had a podcast. Cheers, Steve. I didn't even know you had a podcast. Invite me on that. Thanks, mate. But we've got the City team news. David, welcome to Matchday Live. Again, it's lovely
Thank
to
you very
have
much
you here.
Indeed.
So, that City team, so it's one change from the team that beat West Ham. I think it's 8 changes from the team that played Salford, but obviously we know there was a lot of youth players in that team as well. So one change from the team that played West Ham. Rico Lewis is on the bench. Mateus Nunes is in the team. What do you make of that starting 11?
We're just having a chat about we're thinking Nunes, we might play 3 at the back, I think, in Nunes and Savino wide. Take a chance on that, and then obviously the 3 in midfield, and then we've got left there Foden, Haaland and another, remind me.
Another Foden, Haaland, Bernardo, Savio, Foden, Haaland, De Bruyne.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. So we're strong, aren't we? Got 8 goals from the other day left on the bench, so So we should be okay if we need some subs coming on, shouldn't we?
Absolutely, I like that. Let's go back to the three at the back, Keith, because I think that's the really interesting thing. We heard FG and Michael Brown talking about it. FG originally introduced Núñez as a right back, and to be fair, at times during that Salford game, he did drop into that right back position. Honestly, I had no idea Matheus Núñez could play in a right defensive position, but of course we know for most of the game it was that back three and he was pushing forward. Is that how you think? Is that how you see it again?
Yeah. You got three natural defenders there. Núñez has got a great athleticism about him and can get about the pitch, and it's like City are going to dominate possession of the ball. Then at possession, there's got to be his default position. He's the one that's going to be there to say, right, if it comes down our left-hand side, you've got to be the one that's going to defend in that area there. Bearing in mind, I think Brentford will try and exploit that on the counter-attack and in general play to keep him forced further back.
Does it feel like a brave setup for you, considering it is a Brentford team? Obviously, we'll get on to talking about Brentford. They have incredible home form, although they are in a bad patch of form as well. But they're so well known for being so incredible at home. Is that a brave lineup?
No, I don't think so. I think it's, again, City are going to dominate possession of the ball. And Núñez, with his pace, will be able to counter that, the counter attack as well, which is going to be vitally important. And that's just purely out of physicality. Has he got a defensive mindset? No, he's better going the other way. You accept that. But part of his learning, part of his development as well. Sometimes out of possession, you need to be accountable as well, which is still learning your trade.
It feels fitting, David, given that you are in the studio a fast winger, that we need to talk about. Let's talk about fast wingers.
Yeah, let's do that.
Savinho, the last couple of games, is really starting to shine. What have you made of him since he joined?
Yeah, I think it's all about confidence with all of these wingers, and that was certainly the case with myself. If you get a good start to a game and maybe get an assist or a goal, your confidence is flying, your adrenaline's there, your energy levels are there. And I think if you look back at sort of, I was looking today, so our last few seasons, we've had people from wide positions who've got us a lot of goals. I mean, Raheem Sterling and Mahrez to last week, but both kind of much maligned by City fans, believe it or not. But Raheem Sterling is the 11th best ever goal scorer for this football club in 130 years. He's scored 131 goals. There's like 210 goals between Sterling and Mahrez. They were missing goals with Jesus, Alvarez recently. So if we can get those wide players, be it Doku, be it Savinho, be it Grealish, they need to be contributing goals. And I think that's been probably the frustrating point of view from Pep's, the frustrating thing from Pep's point of view. We all know what a wonderful coach he is, and he is a coach who can create goals out of players that you thought maybe he's not capable of doing that. Well, we've seen him do it, particularly with Sterling. So whether he's had, through this difficult run, whether he's had enough time to do that individual work with those players is another matter. But I'm sure the capability of being really productive for Doku and for Savinho is definitely there, but that's what we really need to see, those goals.
I'm just thinking, when we have David James on, he talks a lot about the goalkeeper union. While I was listening to you talking there, are you like a staunch member of the winger union?
Not really, no. I have some great heroes at City who were wingers, Dennis and Peter in particular, and I absolutely loved Tommy Hutchinson when I was a fan. So that's kind of where I was as a kid. Keith quite surprised because when Keith got to the club, I was playing a lot more as a centre forward. So his memory of me is as a forward player, a centre forward as opposed to a right winger. But most City people would associate me with being a number 7, and that's certainly where I grew up. So no, I'm just a fan of everybody who's put the shirt on, to be honest with you. They're all my heroes.
I love that. It was when you were reading off the stats, the goals of Sterling, the goals that I thought, this man knows he's sticking up for the wingers here, isn't he? But it's a great point as well. We've had so many goals from the wings in the years. Like you say, Sterling Morris are perfect examples. So for Savinho to start scoring, so it's 4 goals in his... been involved in 4 goals in his last 2 Premier League appearances. So 1 goal and 3 assists. Obviously, getting that first goal has been so key, like you say as well, for his confidence.
Yeah, definitely. And David just touched on it there. The confidence is a massive part, especially for forward players as well. And what you usually find is if a team's going through a period where things are not going quite well, it's usually the wide players are the players that suffer because they're not getting the service, or they're being criticised because they're not creating enough opportunities for the team to score goals. So damned if they do, damned if they don't. But I think most good coaches, they want good ability in wide areas because it opens teams up.
He's also linking up with Erling Haaland really well now. I think it's 4 assists this season that Savinho has provided for Erling Haaland. How much did you like it, linking up, knowing that you had someone that was there, or knowing that someone was there for you?
Yes, it's important. I think, obviously, I was able to kind of have 2 relationships with Quinny, very different relationships. And again, probably kind of either side of Keith coming to the club. Early on, I was playing wide and making a lot of goals for Quinny, and then latterly Reedy would play me up front, and Quinny started to make an awful lot of goals for me. But then you'd also have people who maybe a little bit unsung. We had Adrian Heath with us for a couple of years, who again much maligned by the fans really, but was involved in every single goal we ever scored. Just unfortunately never scored any of them himself. But that kind of sums up a really good team player. So if you can, we saw it with Foden and Haaland, didn't we, a couple of years ago, where they were on fire together. And that's another one we're not mentioned. When Foden has played in those wide positions, I think he scored 27 goals a couple of seasons ago. So, particularly when you're playing one up front, it's so important. How many goals did we used to see Sterling just score where he was literally just stood at the far post and got a tap in? And there was that example at Burnley where a few years ago where he missed a good chance and then Pep just took him off. And so I think these sort of easy tips and lessons, but if you're not playing a second striker, it's difficult sometimes as a wide player. You look up, your instinct is to whip a good ball into a good area in the box, and we don't really do an awful lot of that. And clearly, we're talking about the best football coach in the whole world, so he's going to be right and I'm going to be wrong. But sometimes it's frustrating as a wide player and me and Barnsley will be stood there watching it and we'll say, just beat your man, get a cross in. But that's like it's almost like a selfish winger's view that we thought we could just cross it. And you hear this thing in football, they put it into a good area. Well, it's only a good area if you've got a player there who can put it in. So there's a responsibility on strikers to be at the near post, to get in front of the keeper. I believe there's a responsibility on your far wide player to be at that far post to put that chance in. And it's just not quite happened for us at the minute, but the manager will put it right, I'm certain he will.
You're right to me, by the way, David. You're here, so you're right.
Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome. We did, of course, manage to get a hatful of goals against Salford. 8 goals against Salford. What I loved particularly about that, Keith, was the chance to see so many of the youth players and to see the youth players getting involved and to see first goals for Divine Mumbama, hat-trick for James McAtee. We're going to show all the Salford goals now, but there's 8 of them, so we're going to whiz through them quickly. But it was so lovely, wasn't it, to see so many of the youth players in this team, Keith?
Yeah, definitely. And there was a fluidness about the attacking play, and also then again numbers in the box. It's great to see you having the build-up play, but every time you have a look at the numbers that we're getting forward into the box, dominating possession, yeah. But then when it comes to the final third of the game, you've got to make sure you've got people prepared to get into the box to score. Dave just touched on the thing there with with opposite wide men getting into the box. They used to call it POMO, like position of maximum opportunity. So we have one winger's crossing it, the other winger's making that far post, and there's so many tap-ins that you get there. So no. In this game, excellent finishing, but you have a look, the numbers and the desires to get into the box, quality.
So we had first goals for professional goals for the club for Nico Riley and Divine Mumbama. It was, I mean, that's amazing. In terms of first goals for the club, do you remember? Well, you will remember yours. How do you think they felt on the day?
I felt relief because it took me too long to do it. It's an amazing feeling, and you know, particularly when it's your club. You know, particularly when you've been a fan of the club. Obviously, James he's a Salford lad, as I'm a Salford lad. He's probably getting a load of grief off a load of his mates now. You know, they'll all be there supporting Salford. But my first goal was at the North Stand against West Ham. I think it had come from a corner. It was a chest and like half volley, bottom corner. I think I'd played 9 games already, and I should have scored before then. And I was getting anxious, and so this will open the floodgates. And I finished the season on 1 goal. So.
Well, the only way it was up then, David.
But they opened a little bit after that. So, but it was a magical feeling. I can't. There's no video of it, unfortunately, which is a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd love to have seen that.
Yes. So I do have a grainy black and white picture of it. That's all.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was a long time ago. Wow, 38 years ago.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We just saw the hat-trick there for James McAtee as well. He's on the bench today. What do you have to do, Keith, to get a start, do you think?
Again, it's about game time and it's about getting his opportunities. And I think big season for James this year as well. But you know, he would have seen Alvarez leave, so that would have given him another step. He probably would have been wanting and for his development more game time. So he hasn't done his case any harm whatsoever. But it's a case of maintaining that progression, keeping his focus, keeping his head on. Then when you get the opportunity, you've got to take it.
So that is the City team news for today. We're going to head back over to Brentford now, where FG and Michael Brown are going to give us the Brentford team news. Now, I'm particularly interested to see if one Brian Mbeumo is starting, because he has been the saviour of my FPL team this season. I think he got me 19 points last season. And he's part of the reason why I am thumping FG in FPL again. So, FG, do you even have Mbeumo? Do you need a tip? Although I did hear that FG and Brian Mbeumo are actually friends. So maybe you could get a personal tip from him, FG.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, I mean, listen, I've been using Mbeumo in my FPL team as well. I can reveal he does start. But first, let's introduce the man next to me. We're joined by Stuart, the Matchday host here at Brentford. Thank you so much for joining us. We're about to reveal the Brentford team, but before we do, what are you expecting tonight?
It's never nice playing you lot, is it? Let's be honest, come on. I know we had those 2 great results, and to be fair, at your place earlier in the year, I thought we did all right. Gave you a bit of a scare, but look, we're playing arguably the best team in the world here tonight. We're not stupid, it's going to be hard, but like Thomas says, what's the point going into a game without a bit of belief? And we have to go in with a bit of belief.
How does he approach that? Do you know when he comes out and says, right, we just go for it, we go to win, we play to win, we'll attack Manchester City away from home when it surprised me, but you get some good results here, don't you?
We've been unreal here this year. I mean, last few games we've had a bit of a not great results. But I think Thomas just instills this belief in the boys. Like, we've shown some clips on our social media of him talking in the changing room after game. Every game he goes into, he genuinely believes we can get a result. And I think results like we've had against you guys in the past help that. We've beaten Liverpool here, we've beaten Arsenal here, we've beaten you guys here, we've beaten United.
He's getting excited. We might have to drop him down.
I'm just going to head straight into the team news.
By the way, I'm fully aware how good you are,
sure?
and it's going to be hard.
I'm going to go straight into the team news before I get even more nervous than what I am. Right, let's reveal the Brentford team news for you this evening. In goal is Flecken, and then it is Roseley, Collins, Vanderberg, Lewis Potter, Norgard, Janelt, Jensen, Damsgaard, Mbeumo and Wissa. And the substitutes are on the screen for you. In particular, Rico Henry, who's only just returned recently.
The reaction he got at the weekend, like Rico, he's been here longer than Thomas, and there's not many people here who have been here longer than Thomas. The fans love him, I love him. 14 months out with his ACL injury, seeing him back on the pitch at the weekend FA Cup was a big highlight, and yeah, it's just so good to see him back in the squad, but obviously probably not quite ready for a Premier League game against such good opposition as well.
Yeah, someone else as well coming back, Ben Mee, who obviously knows Manchester City well, so the additions and the squad getting stronger, it must be a good sign.
Yeah, that's it. I think we've had, look, a lot of teams have had injuries. We're not the only ones, but I think that bench now is looking a lot stronger, like you're saying. You've got options to come off, and you've also got experience on the bench if we do need to protect a lead or something like that. I know I keep saying protecting leads. I'm fully aware of how good you lot are. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I know how good you lot are.
Do you know, since you lost Ivan Toney, what about the forward line? Can you tell us about that?
I mean, we knew about Brian. He seemed to be, we thought he was a bit of a secret. The secret's out now. I think everyone knows about Brian Mbeumo. He is phenomenal. But Johan Wissa has stepped up. He's been incredible. Again, we knew about how good Johan was. This year, I think the two of them are just, this partnership they had. Brian and Ivan had an amazing partnership. These two have got the same thing. It's telepathy. Also, they're such good mates off the pitch. They love each other, and I think it really shows when you see their relationship on the pitch. They've been amazing, but also there's been the emergence of Mikael Damsgaard, who I think has gone under the radar. This year, he's been phenomenal and probably our player of the season so far.
Wow, I mean, listen, let's talk about the game. I mean, we spoke last season, and we've still got the receipts, by the way. You were very confident last season, and Phil Foden ended up scoring a hat-trick, but you did show very good signs. How different is a game today because of your record at the GTEC this season?
Yeah, I mean, we have to clutch onto anything, really, do we? Look, I was saying, but there's no point us turning up and not having a little bit of confidence. Like I say, you are arguably the best team in the world. I know that. It's going to be horrible. We're not going to have a lot of possession. I just looked at your team. It's horrible. I don't like looking at it. I don't want to look at it. I know how good you guys are. But you've got to hope. This is why we love football, isn't it? That we might get a result against you.
Who tries to deal with Haaland? Will it be Collins, do you think?
I'd have thought so. With no Ethan
really
Pinnock,
improved this season.
Collins this year has been superb. Now captain in Ireland as well. Not having Ethan is a big blow because Ethan probably would have done that job. I'd have thought out of the two, Sepp and Nathan Collins, it probably will be Nathan. Yeah.
And can you tell us where you're going to sit, just in case we have to find you later on?
I'll be hiding up in the gallery.
Right, I've got you. I can see you. Don't worry.
Honestly, it's confident but humble, we like to say.
No, you're extremely humble. And listen, last year we touched on an amazing initiative that Brentford do, the Heart of West London. Firstly, I want to ask you to tell, if you wouldn't mind, be so kind to tell our viewers who didn't tune into the last year a little bit about it, and also how the last 12 months have gone for you guys and how we can get involved to support.
Well, to get involved to support, thank you guys for letting us share this, and in the matches you came down for Robert Rowan fixture as well. The Heart of West London was started in 2022. It's partnering up with 5 different heart health charities. As you may know, sadly, our sporting director, Robert Rowan, passed away from a heart condition at the age of just 28. But we've got a lot of links to heart health. This is a cardiac health hotspot as well. So we're trying to help the local community, but also the wider community. Today, we're wearing warm-up shirts that show a really, really horrible stat that 12 young people die every single week from undiagnosed heart conditions. So screening is a massive thing. The club have been working with Cardiac Risk in the Young to screen young people. We've done 364 screenings since the partnership started. So we've been raising money for research, awareness around CPR skills. We're teaching CPR today in the lounges. We're doing demos on the screens as well. And pre-game, we're doing a bit of an unconventional light show, which is teaching people CPR as well. So trying to use our platform as much as we can to try and teach people these skills. But honestly, we are also so grateful to Manchester City. We had the game here, the Robert Rowan fixture, but also last year for talking to us about it. And today, honestly, we can't thank you enough. And also, I think, obviously, today's game is a bit more poignant, playing yourselves after, tragically, Mark Vivian Foe collapsing as well. So we can't thank you guys enough, but it's really important to us, yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep up the absolutely amazing work. We'll be sure to support such a great initiative every single time we cross paths with Brentford. Let's just hope we get the 3 points today. I mean, now Mr. Michael Brown's got a message, I think, for someone in the studio. You've been itching.
Yeah, I was just a little bit concerned, Natalie, because Keith Curle's been away. He's been into Dubai. He's been playing paddle tennis. He's been playing a little bit of golf, but there's been a few questions about his handicap. He's been cheating a little bit. One of the players who's been with him saying he was off 11, but when he plays with us, he's off 9, FG. So they've been a little bit concerned. He struggled on a little bit of paddle. The first few games he got a little bit better, but to be accused of cheating, Keith Curle at golf?
I'm not saying a single word.
Have a little word, Natalie?
Shocking. Keith, have you got a reply to that?
England World Golf handicap is 10.7, which allows when you go up to 11.
Okay. I don't know anything really about golf, but he said you once played off 9, so what happened there?
depending on the people that I'm playing with, I adjust my handicap to make it more competitive.
What would you say your real handicap is then?
Sometimes I can play to 8. but then sometimes I like having 11.
Also, is Michael Brown stalking you? Because how does he know that you were doing paddle and what you were playing off with somebody in Dubai?
Luckily, we mixed with some in a very similar circle. And we do have an overcross of paddle friends and golf friends.
Okay, just quickly before we move on, talk about Brentford. Is Michael Brown any good at golf?
Not bad, competitive, can bang it.
No way, Michael Brown competitive. Shock. Right, let's talk Brentford. Of course, Brentford have become a really well-established, respected Premier League club. Obviously, Thomas Frank was really, really well loved, and they have this phenomenal home record. I think it's the second best home record in the Premier League. That is some shot, by the way. I presume that's the broadcaster is now allowed to take shots from inside the dressing room. But they are on an iffy patch at the minute. We've got to say they got beat at the weekend. They were the giant killing. We were all hoping for an FA Cup giant killing as long as it wasn't us, and they were the giants. They were killed by Plymouth Argyle in the FA Cup. Of course, Plymouth Argyle, who are bottom of the Championship. It was a much changed team. But how much do you think that affects them, David? Are they going to want to immediately bounce back?
They will do. I think the big thing you've got to look at with Brentford, and it is a phenomenal record, home record, don't get me wrong, but they've got all the big boys to play at home in the second half of the season, obviously including us today. I think the only real big hitter they've played there, am I right in saying they beat Newcastle there?
In the League Cup, I feel like.
Right,
no,
okay.
was it? I feel like it might have been in the League Cup. I'm not sure.
But either way, the fixtures have been kind to them, which is what you want in the early part of the season. They've had a great, as you say, great start to the season. That's going to breed confidence. A couple of defeats of late, which will knock them a little bit. But the manager seems so grounded, and he'll get them sorted. They'll be really up for it today. They'll fancy themselves. It's going to be a difficult task, but they have got some difficult games, as we have, by the way. Yeah. Our run over the next couple of months is really, really tough. But maybe that's what we need.
Sorry, you were right. They beat Newcastle 4-2. I've got them in front of me now. They got beat in the League Cup, but that was away. They've had, they're on a bad run of form, but the games were away. They got beat by Villa, beat by Chelsea. They were away, but then they did get beat by Forest at home as well.
Arsenal, I believe, is it? Yeah.
Yes, and then they had the big win against Southampton. That was away from home. They got beat by Arsenal at home, so they are on a iffy patch themselves. But at home, they just cannot be underestimated.
No, and I think at the beginning of the season, staying in the league would have been their priority. So the cup
game. Do you think is that still the priority for them?
Yeah. I was lucky enough to go down there to their training ground, and you can tell it's not meant to be disrespectful, but it's not the finished building. It's very prefabricated and extended. Excellent facility, but you think you can tell they haven't put roots down yet, and I think that is part of their driving force behind the scenes as well. As in, they know that they're batting way above their standing at the minute, but that drive to maintain that Premier League status is massive within that football club. And I think then within that game plan of them maintaining league status is their home form. Their home record, a lot of energy goes into making sure that they are very competitive in their home games. And again, if you go there and you think, we're going to play our game, well, part of Brentford's mindset is, we're going to stop you from playing your game. Anything you get against us, you're going to have to earn.
And then, of course, they've got two great goal scorers who cannot stop scoring at the minute. And Mbeumo and Visser both have incredible scoring records, David. So we're really going to have to try and quieten them today.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously with Tony leaving, we thought that was something they were going to sort of really miss out on and was going to cause them a problem. But these guys have come in and they're still at it. And before we talked about confidence, and again, they probably looked at those fixtures early on and those home games and said, we can get some goals here, we can get some points here, and just as important, we can get some confidence into these guys. So that's going to really stand him in good stead for the second half of the season.
Yeah, you mentioned Tony there. I feel like, I mean, it was a shock when he left, and I'm still surprised he didn't go to another Premier League club. But I feel like, do you think everybody expected them to struggle goal scoring a lot more than they have?
I think we probably did, but we also probably thought that the recruitment's been so good over the last few years that they'll unearth another one who'll just come in and take that place seamlessly, and that seems to be what's happened. And as you say, they've had an incredible start to the season, and obviously I think when you are a Premier League club, and particularly when you're a Premier League club of that standing, the Matchday revenue isn't incredible, because obviously the size of the stadium, so it's massively important that you maintain your position in the Premier League, because the revenue that's coming from that is absolutely incredible.
You mentioned, Keith, that you'd been down to the training ground. Did you meet Thomas Frank?
Yeah. I met Thomas. I've met him before when I was manager of Oldham, and we played him in the cup, and they beat us 7-0. Mind you, I had 16 players unavailable that day. And then I remember 5-0 down at half time, and I'm thinking, where's this going? But then they scored 1 goal straight after half time, and we managed to keep him at 6-0 until about 20 minutes to go. Then I had a young lad, Harry Vaughan, running off the pitch to get the ball back from a throw in, and we've got 20 minutes to go. And I'm like, what are you doing, Harry? In his mind, you're thinking he's thinking it's 6-6, we can get this back. I'm there thinking, just don't be 10.
Well, it wasn't 8, so that's all right.
No, good. No, but very nice man, very well respected, very diligent in his work as well. I was lucky enough to go behind the scenes and got an insight into his workload and his structure that he puts in place, build up to games and after games, and as well, there's a lot of work goes in behind the scenes there because they know they've got to dismantle other teams and find a weakness.
I feel like he's one of the few people in football that is like universally liked by everyone. It's like everybody likes Thomas Frank, and every time you see an interview with him, you just like him more. Yeah. And I'm not going to swear it's a family show, but his policy, I heard him do an interview when he said that his policy on buying players is they don't buy, and then it's a swear word.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure they bought was it under 15 million quid? I know the recruitment team as well, and again the work that goes into it, because they've got unearthed talent, and then they've got the attraction of they're in London. That's the first attraction point. But then there's lots of other football clubs that, so if you say, you're going to go to a Premier League club in London, they've got to sell the dream to players, but they know when to get them. They're never going to get and sign the finished article. They've got to get in before other people.
Mbeumo is a perfect example of that as well, because he's gone under the radar for a few years, and they'll do well now to keep a hold of him, because everybody's on him now. Yeah. Also, it wasn't a really bad swear word that Thomas Frank used. I don't actually think it's a swear word. I just don't think I can say it on this show. It ends in ix and starts with p. So okay.
I wonder.
Yeah.
No idea.
So it wasn't that bad. I didn't want to put swear words in Thomas Frank's mouth, just to clarify there. Right, we're going to go back over now to Brentford, because tomorrow the EA Sports FC Team of the Year will be announced. But we wanted to get in there early. So we asked Michael Brown, and it says on here, expert FG, but I have a problem with that, because there's absolutely no way that FG is an expert on EA Sports. We've asked them to do their teams. I'm sorry, FG. Why are we asking you to do a team?
Yes, thank you very much, Nat. I mean, I knew you were going to get in that I wasn't an EA expert, but apparently, according to the people on Matchday Live, I am an EA expert. And I'm surrounded by a man I actually beat once on tour. I've not forgotten Jolie Lescott being Sean Wright Phillips. Good to you.
Oh, meant to say, yeah, he was doubles, don't count. I beat someone on pins, that don't count.
All right, so we're going to be rating our EA Team of the Years. Okay, Team of the Year is coming out very, very soon, and we'll see the full team very soon. First things first, we'll start with my team, but am I allowed to speak, or are you just going to...
No, you speak, yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Am I allowed to say something?
Sure.
No, I am the people. I did it for the people, all right? I picked everything to do with Manchester City. Jeremy Frimpong used to play for Manchester City. Ruben Diaz. Cole Palmer was a former City player. Rodri.
Van Dijk. Was he linked with City?
No, what do you think about the team, Brownie?
All the City fans love Van Dijk. Is that what you're trying to say?
I ran out of...
Mohamed Salah? What's the City link?
Because I couldn't find a City link.
Jude Bellingham?
I filmed with Jude Bellingham, so I just thought, you know what?
Oh, well, I filmed with Jude Bellingham. Oh, love you, Jude.
He put you on his story, mate. He's massive, right? Okay. So my team, I think, is probably the winning team, to be honest, out of the two. As we go to Michael Brown's team, good team: Saliba, Van Dijk, Rudiger, Grimaldo. It's just you're playing a back four with 3 centre backs and a left back. So who's playing right back?
See, you're going to watch a game in a minute, right, where the manager adapts, mate. They just move forward, someone drops into the middle, makes an extra...
Build up with a free.
You've absolutely just set yourself right off, mate. That's why we're defensively sound, but we can adapt, we can move. I'm surprised he didn't put Bruno Fernandes and have a Man United link as well, just to do everything.
How Vinicius Junior not in your team?
How is he not there?
He nearly won Ballon d'Or.
He said he's trying to find as many City players as he could, and then he said to me, why did I not put Mo Salah?
Yeah, why not ahead of Salah?
What, so you think I should have had Vinny Jr. in my team?
Ahead of Salah.
I put Phil Foden in on the left.
But I've never said ahead of Phil.
But ahead of Salah, I was like, I just thought, I've not really watched.
Did Phil even play left for City?
Not really much.
Right.
I just remember the Ballon d'Or. Roger came first, so I just put Rodri in, I think, and then just.
They're not the same position.
Yeah, but it's just the rivalry that's formed now, isn't it?
But Jude made it.
Yeah, Jude made it because, in case you didn't have film with Jude once.
Okay.
That works for me. Jolien, all jokes aside, Team of the Year is a special time for FC and FC 25. There's so many players who are nominated. I think it's important that we touch on the women's team as well, the likes of Bunny Shaw, Alex Greenwood, the players who have been fantastic for Manchester City throughout the year. From being a part of this club and a massive part of the success that this club has had, how nice is it to constantly see players nominated for Team of the Year?
It's amazing because it's so relevant, especially to the younger generation. They pay so much attention to FC. So again, and as a player, you want to be recognised, and the game is so like the actual game itself. So you are recognised for certain things you do. But again, it's a credit to the club that are expanding all the time.
And are you aware that Mr. Jolien Lescott actually got a very special item on a FIFA title once?
What was that? He's got everything, really, honestly. I spotted him out of the blue today, did you know that as well? We just turned up at the same train station. He's in his tracksuit. Where are you going? I said, I'm going to London, and he offered his way, but he's now a lot smarter than he was earlier. He went to Birmingham first, you know.
Always looking great, Jolien. A word on today's game. How do you think this one's going to go?
I'm confident. I know the Salford game wasn't the most competitive in terms of all closeness, but there were signs of it that give me confidence we're back to where we expect Man City to be. And I'm more confident tonight. I know this is a tough place to come and a tough team to play because, again, early in the season they were very good. But I believe we'll get the job done.
I hope you're right. You're always such a good luck charm for us here on Matchday Live. Great to see you back here. Brownie, thanks as well. Quick question before we head back to the studio. Who'd win in a game of FC between Jolien and Brownie?
Are you serious? Big man would win.
I didn't think you were going to admit defeat that
He
easily.
doesn't play. To be fair,
I'd beat you. I've beaten him on tour. So.
No, I would beat you. Fact. It's not even a joke.
I'm ready. Whenever you guys are ready to set it up, we'll do a Matchday Live exclusive. Thank you very much, Jolien. And give this man a hero on FC already, please.
Ooh, I like that. There's a beef between Rodri and Vinicius Jr. and there's a beef between FG and Jolien. I know which one I'm more interested in there. I'm also really glad that Jolien was there to bring FG's team down because we do like that. Did you notice as well, Gents, FG's picture there? Did you see it? He's like a pro picture he was holding the badge looking dead serious. Very nice, FG. Very nice indeed. Do you care about EAFC? Do either of you?
I think we should bring it back to football, personally.
That's a no from David.
No, not me.
Curly?
Nope.
Nope, not you either. I have a mild interest because I have a 7-year-old that is obsessed with it. But I've said to FG before, I would like FG to teach me. God, I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. That's really embarrassing. Because my 7-year-old always beats me. Right. And I figure FG must be at least a little bit better than a 7-year-old. So maybe he might be able to give me a couple of tips. So
there you go.
At some point, FG, that would be lovely. Thank you. Right, let's bring it back to football. In fact, let's bring it back to you, Mr. David White.
Okay.
Because it is your first time on the show, and whenever we have a first-time guest, we like to get to know you a little bit more. Mm-hmm. For any of our viewers that don't know you, we'd like them to get to know you a little bit more as well. So, 342 appearances for Manchester City. Can you remember how many goals you scored?
Yes, I do, yeah. 96.
That is what I have written here. And I think you probably know better than we do.
And then I played in 2003. I played in one of the last ever games at Main Road. We played two 11s, former City players, and then some randomers from telly. And I scored 4. So that's 100. Ooh. So I count them.
Who was in net that day?
For them?
Yeah.
I think it was Curly Watts from Coronation Street. No, it was Andy Dibble, actually. Yeah.
Was it Andy Dibble? Well, that's legit then.
Of course it's legit.
Apparently, our very own Alistair Mann played in that game, our commentator Alistair Mann.
Did
Do
he?
you remember that? Do you remember him?
No, I don't think so.
Sorry, Ali.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him, yeah.
He was marking you.
Yeah, he was for the third goal. So it's 100, really. No, it's
I'd say 100, David.
96, unfortunately.
You had the joy of playing at Main Road, of course. That's when I had my first season ticket at Main Road. In fact, our paths barely crossed. So I started Sporting City in 1993.
Yes.
And of course, it was back end of 93 when
I left
you
December
when
93,
you left.
yeah.
What's your standout memories of Main Road?
As a player, because I've got obviously loads of memories as a fan. As a player, I made my A-team debut actually on Main Road because everywhere was frozen, but the undersoil heating had been on, and we beat UMIS 4-0, and I scored at Platt Lane End wearing number 7. It was just first official game I'd ever played for the club as a kid, which was unbelievable. My first goal, we spoke about it. We won the FA Youth Cup, which doesn't seem much, but it's all I've got really. So, and then obviously the United 5-1 game, I kind of struggled with it for a long time because it's all we had, and living in sort of the heart of Manchester, I found it a struggle to celebrate something that the Red fans always had something to come back at us with. But I know how important that game was to all the City fans back then. It was a really important. We were really good that day. Huddersfield game being part of that because
Hat-trick in that,
yeah. And 9 and 10 I scored. And I was there. I was watching it the other night, thinking because it's nearly 40 years. No team has ever done it since. No team has scored 10 goals, and it's 38 years ago. That I'm just hoping that stretches to 40. It ain't going to go to 50 years, but obviously if somebody beats it, hopefully it's City. We played Burton a few years ago, and we were 9-0 up after 80 minutes, and David Silva was on fire, and I thought it'd be great if he kind of took that record off us, and he was the one that took the 10th goal, but it wasn't to be. So that was great. We had Curly played. We had a magic first game at Main Road. It'd be 91-92. We beat Liverpool. Yeah. Beat them 2-1 and scored 2, and then that was the best atmosphere. It was unbelievable, just the way the light was on that night. Everybody will say it was the best atmosphere we ever had at the ground, and then I scored 2 more at Anfield same season, so that was okay. And then not Main Road, but I scored 4 at Villa Park in a 5-1 game.
We might have that.
You might
one
have
of those. Hold on, have we got it? Look at this, David.
There you go. Oh, I've not seen this since yesterday.
Give us your thoughts on it as it's happening. What were you thinking?
I've got to shoot with my left foot, and I did, and it went in, so that was all right.
Look at the pitch as well.
I know, look at those shorts.
Look at them shorts.
Big O forward, Quinny, header, and that's Nigel Spinking goal, and that's an okay finish. I'll go for that.
Very nice.
This is me crossing it for Mark Brennan. And then he comes over, jumps on my back, and I throw him off it for some reason. I don't know why. I got angry there, but I did. Get off. And then Quinny's touch. This is my favourite ever goal for City.
What a touch!
And it, that stanchion, he made this amazing noise. And then this is a bit of a scuffer, really, but this is the 4th goal. And I get millions of people say I was there that night, and this one guy in particular, and he said, I was there that night. He said, best night of my life. He said, I got tickets off my granddad, and we're in the Holt End. In the first half, first 10 minutes, you scored 2 goals. He said, it was absolutely magical. And then the second half, he said, big pitch, and I couldn't see you at the far end. And he said, I went to my granddad's shoulders, and he said, you made the 3rd goal, and you scored your 4th goal, your hat-trick, and you scored your 5th goal. It was absolutely amazing. And I looked at this guy, and I said, what age are you? He said, David, I'm the same age as you. I said, what were you doing on your granddad's shoulders at 23? And he looked at me, he went, all right, I maybe got that wrong then. And you get all these stories, many of which I can't repeat, but everybody I speak to has got a memory of that game, and that's something really special to me, that it was it's just a one-off game. I'm there to score goals, that's what I'm supposed to do. But it just all came together on that day. My dad, who never missed a game, missed that game. He was on his way to Heathrow to go abroad, and for whatever reason didn't stop. So it was sad that he missed it, but it was a really great evening.
Oh, Mr. White missing it.
There we go.
Crikey! Well, we've got the footage of that one, and we can very much enjoy them now.
Apparently, you can get it on YouTube. I never watch it myself, but
favourite. We had a guest on Saturday on the show that had something to say about you. Let's hear what Mr. Peter Reid had to say about David White.
When I got here, he was. I used to mix him about a bit. On that right-hand side, he was great, but I then moved him because people were getting tight on him. I then moved him up front. By the way, he got some. I think he got about. Did he get 3 or 4 at Aston Villa once? And he was up top, but he could go wide. But I'll tell you what he was.
4 goals and an assist in a 5-1 win. It was.
Was that Villa? Yeah, Villa. I always remember. I'm thinking he was unbelievable. Honest to God, on that day he was incredible, top player.
And of course, from a Matchday Live perspective, Paul, a man who's a regular like yourself, you got any advice for David White being back in the Matchday Live studio?
No, he'll be all right. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Peter Reid there. What do you think of that?
No, that's nice. I played my best football under him. He was just somebody who believed in me. Howard Kendall had come along and he changed the club around a lot, and I kind of had memories of struggling a little bit under Howard. And I look back and I didn't. It just all felt. I was kind of playing in almost like an inside left position, but I was scoring goals. And when I look back at it now, and then Reedy, obviously Howard left, Reedy came along and just really believed in me. I was saying to Keith, I broke my collarbone in training. Clive Allen literally ran into my collarbone with his head, smashed it to pieces, and they said you'll be 6 weeks. And I looked at the fixture list. We were playing United after like 5 weeks and 6 days. So we played United in 6 weeks, and I remember him saying, just looked at me and said, "You play in that game," and to have that confidence that for your manager to have that confidence in you, and I scored goals and I made goals, and I remember Sam Ellis once, we were actually out having a beer in Ireland, and it said you kind of undroppable because you always get goals and make goals, and that was that. So it's we talk. The lads that are playing wide now, if you can get that in your game, and I was lucky that I could do that. I'm not saying you get away with playing badly, but I quite often did, I think, because, they thought he'll probably get a goal or he'll make a goal. So, and I used to love doing that.
When you mentioned the derby, was that 1992 by any chance?
No, the derby, the 5-1 was 87.
Oh, OK.
I know the one you're talking about, though.
Yes, it was 92, it was 1-1, and you both played in it. That's why I bring that one up. And David, you were brought down for a penalty, but you let him take it.
Well, Curle was I was a bit quicker then than I am now, right? So people always say, what did you say to Steve Bruce then? Because I was like, he was like, I was 10 yards behind him when I set off on that run. Came across very few people who were quicker than me in football, but there's one sat next to me now. Curle was quicker than me.
Who's faster, Kyle Walker, you or Curle in their prime?
Well, it's not me, because I know for sure Curle's quicker than me, so it'd be between him and Kyle, I don't know.
Oh, that would have been
but people, when I tell people say, were you the quickest? I say, no, Curle's quicker than me. what about Philo? And I said, no, Philo just looked quick because he was tiny.
His legs were short.
Yeah, so his legs are going like mad. But Curle was quicker than me. But the thing with Keith was he only had to be quick for 2 or 3 yards and the strikers would give up because... So then he quite often he didn't have to show his pace. But that game, my first child, my son, had been born at 3:30 that afternoon. I didn't give birth to him, so I can't.
Okay, that's all right
so,
then.
But we'd gone into hospital in Warrington, because I lived in Warrington in the morning, to be induced. And then there were complications. My ex-wife had to give birth by caesarean. He was born at 3:30 and really
3:30 a.m.
No, 3:30 afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'd got there in the morning, and Reedy had said to me, as long as you're in the Copthorne Hotel by what would be 6:30, no, probably a bit earlier, 6 o'clock. As long as you're in the Copthorne by 6 o'clock, you're playing. So she gave birth at 3:30, but by caesarean. So I've got the baby, but I can't have it because she's still knocked out effectively. So she's got to come out of the anaesthetic, and I'm like looking at me watching ginger. And I remember literally driving out, literally in the middle of rush hour. You know, when she'd come round, everybody's okay, we got the picture. Parked up in the Copthorne at 5 to 6. And literally, the guys are having the pre-match meal and everything got in, and he said, right, he's playing. And that was it. And we went out. I think, was that Neil Pointer got sent off that game, or was that a different one? But obviously, I won the penalty, and then, but Keith was a great penalty taker, so it was a... But I actually missed a sitter in the last minute.
No, wait, you don't need to mention that. We didn't know about that, David. We don't remember that.
I didn't miss any chances in that game. I didn't miss any chances.
We don't remember that at all. We remember that you won a penalty in the derby, and that is an incredible birth story. Yeah. I would have loved that. I was born, and then my dad went and got a penalty in the Manchester derby.
I remember somebody got on the... Because I did miss a sitter. And somebody got on the coach and gave me some stick, and it's the only time I've ever got stick off a fan and thought, I'm not bothered at all, because... My lad had been born that day, so that was good. And then, obviously we'd had the 5-1, and people tell me you scored 2 in the 5-1, which I didn't, but I just let them think I did. but the year after I did. I scored a horrible, scrappy goal in. It ended up being 3-3.
A stunning goal, David. We need to teach you here.
My second one was a pretty special goal. My first one was horrible and scrappy, but it was absolutely magical because it was against United. So
this is the thoughts, of course, of David White, who never missed a sitter in a derby and scored 2 in the 5-1. Don't let anyone tell you different.
And I also missed a header for a hat-trick, hit the bar.
You didn't, David.
That never happened. I don't know why you said that.
Stop talking, David. Stop talking. Stop it. So that is one Manchester derby to another Manchester derby, because on Sunday it is the first WSL derby of the season. It's here at the Etihad Stadium. We are taking on United.
It is City against United. Red versus blue in Manchester. Every single one of them will know what this game means.
Both teams want the bragging rights. It's always going to be cagey. It's a Manchester derby. Manchester derby being played at the Etihad. I mean, what more could you want?
You want to win at all costs, and it's as simple as that.
Bloody shot, goodness me!
Into Park, brilliant! In ball, what a goal!
Cannot wait. What a day. Of course, the men playing Ipswich at 4:30, the women playing United at 7:15. Matchday Live will be covering both of those games for you. Now, we're going to switch our focus quickly to focus on City in the community. We love City in the community. You all know how proud I am of the incredible work that they do. Well, they're going to be telling us a little bit and discussing their BTEC and degree programmes. So we're delighted now to be joined by Joe Spence. Joe is a scholarship student on the City degree programme, and he gained through City a BTEC. So, hi Joe, are you there?
Hi, you okay?
Hey Joe, thank you so much for joining us today. I love you sat there in your City stuff as well. You know you're a proper blue, we can tell there. Love that.
Always.
Tell us a bit about your experience.
Over the 2 years at college, we went through a lot of different things, gaining a lot of knowledge through coaching, and as well playing football 5 days a week, which personally I thought was the best thing ever. There's just a lot of things that we go through to make young children become better, not just as people, but also as coaches, which I think's the biggest and best thing the city and the community can do.
I love that you mentioned that you were getting an education and playing football. Sounds like a dream. What skills do you think you've been able to develop while you've been on the programmes?
The main one is definitely confidence, but I feel like communication is another very, very big thing, because you need to be able to talk to your participants. Again, organisation skills is a big must. You've got your technical and tactical stuff as a coach. You've got your coach's development, all that kind of stuff. And during your 2 years at college, your teachers do go through that very, very detailed. And that is probably the main area and the main reasons to why I do what I do today.
You're a great salesperson here for it, Joe. If anybody's watching and they fancy it, how can they get more info?
For more information, definitely go and search up on Google, mancity.com/CITC. You'll find all the information you need there. And honestly, please go and sign up. It'll be the best decision you'll ever make.
Joe, before you go, I just want to ask, where are you? Because I'm noticing there is a dartboard, and is that a pool cue behind me as well? Like, are you at home or are you in the pub?
I'm at home.
Do you have a pool table or a snooker table?
I don't have any. It's for when I go out.
Well, that sounds... that'd be great, having a dartboard in your house, that, Joe. I'm jealous of you. Give us a quick score prediction.
I'm going to say 3-1 City.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Joe. Thanks for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you.
Love that. I love the idea that you can get an education and you can play football. There's something for everybody. So, yeah, do have a little look on that. Get on the City website. Get on Google as well. Have a look. Joe's a great salesperson there. Much appreciate that. Thank you very much there to Joe. So we are only 10 minutes now away from kick-off. You'll get full match commentary, as always, on the Manchester City app. If you're not currently watching on there, switch over to there now. This show is there, free on the Manchester City app. And then you will also get the wonderful Alistair Mann, who's played in the game at Main Road with David White and was probably amazing. He's on the commentary alongside Michael Brown. So get that for free on the Manchester City app. So we're running out of time, gents. David, you'll learn this show goes so unbelievably quickly, but before you know it, you're a few minutes before kickoff and you start thinking about the actual game. So what's your thoughts? Give us your final thoughts on how you think the game's going to go today.
I fancy 3-1 myself as well, to be honest. I think they'll start well. I think we may concede. I think you can really get excited about the bench. I think the lads that are on there, obviously the senior players, let's not get despondent if we're down or even at 1-0. We've got some major confidence on the bench of these young kids, and I think it's right the way he's developing, and we saw Phil Foden developed in that same way. A little bit of patience, but now all those goals that we got in them at the weekend will really stand us in good stead. So I'm going to say 3-1-2.
Okay, I like that. Although a clean sheet would be nice. Obviously, we got one against Salford. I'd like a clean sheet. But the 3 points is most important. Curly, how are you feeling ahead of the game?
2-0.
Okay.
2-0.
Straight in there.
Yeah, but I think it'll be a tight affair. I think Brentford will have a work ethic that they know that they have to be in the right place at the right time and make the right decisions out of possession of the ball. I think they'll have a default defensive shape, which will be a 4-5-1, which will make it difficult to break down. And then it's about City being patient, moving the ball quickly into wide areas, and then again deliveries into the box, the final third entries, but then getting numbers into the box in and around Haaland as well, because I think he's got goals in him tonight as well.
Yeah, it's lovely to see Haaland back on. I mean, I say back on. He's, with his shooting boots on again. He's still second or something in the Golden Boot race for the Premier League, despite having a little quiet patch. But yes, I'd love to see some more Savio Haaland link-ups, or indeed Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland link-ups, because they were my favourite last year.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I still say it now, and I think I've said it a few times on this show, that Kevin he's a locksmith, isn't he? because every team will set up, get men behind the ball. But Kevin's, he's got the ability, he can open doors.
I can't believe we get these shots. Obviously, we can't hear what's being said, but it's still interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if any of them are doing any, like putting the left boot on first, tying like any weird tradition-y things at the end. Did you have anything like that, David?
I don't recall that I do. I definitely always wanted to come out a certain number in the lineup. I can't remember what it was though. I think fourth. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But everybody has little things they do. So you do a load of things the same, but they were just your routine rather than being superstitious. I think.
Yeah.
You and I got changed together next to each other for many years, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you were 6, I was 7,
yeah.
And obviously that's just how it was back then. It was 1 to 11, and.
I can remember when you left, and then Nicky Summerby came, and I had to tell Nicky to move.
I shouldn't think so.
No, he was just too nervous before a game.
Really?
He used to stand there like tapping his feet.
Was David cool cucumber?
Yeah, David was. I just get changed. And he was ready. But Nicky, I was like, Nicky, you have to go and sit over there, mate, because you're making me nervous, and I don't get nervous.
I love that. I love that. Who had the biggest bag of toiletries, and who took the most time between the two of you, getting ready after a game?
I don't. Nothing happened like that then. I mean, you had your little wash bag. Funniest thing, a couple of times when you used to play in the League Cup and there'd be a sponsor, and you'd win, get man of the match, you'd win a telly. I won a Sony 32-inch telly, and the literally just went, there you go. A massive box like that, and I'm carrying it across the forecourt of Main Road.
Amazing. I love that.
I want a bike,
I want a bike once as well.
Right.
There you go.
The teams are coming out. I don't think anyone's going to be given a 32-inch TV tonight at Brentford, but I love that. David White, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to have you on tonight. Thank you.
No problem whatsoever.
Thank you, Curly, as always. Pleasure. So the teams are coming out now. You can see, if you're not on the app just now, get over to there. You'll get full match commentary from Alistair Mann and from Michael Brown. We will all be back at half-time and then at full-time, where hopefully we are talking about Manchester City making it 4 in a row and breaking this Brentford good home form. So everything cross blues, enjoy the game, and we'll see you at half-time.
Thank you, Natalie. 2 teams in the tunnel. Sell-out crowd, as you'd expect, at this one of the smaller grounds in the country. But it is always an intense atmosphere. And the reality is that this is a real test for the Blues, with Brentford having been in exceptional form here in front of their own supporters.